Hello, Temple Owls. My name is Amir, head technician and assistant store leader at OWLtech in Pearson Hall. Today I'm going to be walking you all through a top case replacement for a 2020 MacBook Air. But before I get started, please hit that subscribe button for more OWLtech YouTube content. And if you like this video, please give it a like to see more content like this in the future. Thanks. All right, folks, let's get started. I start off this video pulling out all the tools that I need to begin the repair. As this is a top case replacement, I'm pulling up a service guide from Apple to go through all of the steps of doing the repair. I start off pulling off the bottom case, then removing the battery so that it's not getting any power. You'll notice that I'm using a blue wrist strap on here. That blue wrist strap is to make sure that I don't accidentally put off an electrostatic discharge. That is essentially when you get static built up in you and you shock something. I don't want to do that to a computer. That would cause the computer to fry. Bad news. You also notice there's a clear cover on the battery. I use that to make sure that I don't accidentally poke the battery, causing a thermal event. That is essentially the battery getting poked and then exploding. Don't want that to happen. You'll notice that the first thing I did here is, after I unhooked the battery, is took off the logic board. That's the system board. That has all your info on there. That's the processor. That's the memory. Everything on that one little board that's sitting off to the side of me. I take a fan off as well. So all that has to come off is going to go into another part that I have in that bag next to it. You'll also notice the next part that comes off is the vent antenna module. That vent antenna module is basically where your antennas for your Wi-Fi are, and where you blow out the air of the back of the computer with the fan. Next after that is going to be the speakers. The speakers were a little complicated on this one. My glue strap broke on both sides of the speakers, so I had to pry them up a little bit. Took a little bit of time, but it's not that big of a deal. Next after that is going to be the battery. I'll move the trackpad strap off because it's kind of glued down to the battery. And then I'll remove the glue straps from the battery, move that over to the other computer. And at this point, most of what I have to do from this computer is done. I just have to remove the display over to the other computer and the trackpad. So I do the trackpad next. You'll see that come off. Let me move that over, clean it off. You'll notice that I'm using these white wipes. Those are alcohol wipes. They are safe for electronics because they dry up. They don't leave any alcoholic residue. You just have to make sure they're not really wet. You'll notice that I put these little silver shims on them. Those are the spacers for your trackpad to make sure that it is the right amount of space. The trackpad is a little bit of a process. You'll see me put these little white clips on there. Those to make sure that your trackpad is properly aligned. It takes a little bit to get them in the exact space. The trackpad is very sensitive on the Mac. It's one of the coolest parts of the Mac. It has a little actuator on there. It does not actually move if the computer's not getting power. So if you ever run into a computer that is not powering on and you plug it in and it doesn't click, well, that means your computer's probably not getting any power. So once I have that all aligned, I re-put the screws in there. I test it. You'll see the sticky notes. Those check to see how high the battery, the trackpad is sitting up. I do that to adjust them, make sure those are all good. Once that's all wrapped up, I'll start putting other parts back together on the new case. I put alignment tools on here for the battery to make sure it's in the exact right place, because once I put it down, it's going to stick. There's a glue straps on there to make sure that the battery does not move. Don't want your battery moving on your computer. That would be bad news. Once that's done, I put glue straps on the speakers to realign those, stick those down, and then comes the process of putting all the other parts in there. So that is the USB board. I moved it from the one computer to this one, and I aligned it with two little cut off USB cables to go in there to make sure it's properly aligned, because if it's not aligned, your computer may not charge. So going through this, the display is replaced and put onto the new case, then antenna module. Then I took the Touch ID. Touch ID is going to move over. The Touch ID is actually locked to your logic board. So if ever a problem happens with your board, I have to also replace the Touch ID. because it is all connected together. They are one part together. However, you can replace the Touch ID by itself, but not the board by itself. Anywho, that's going on there. Very sensitive. You have to make sure it's properly aligned, make sure it has the proper pressure. There's little shims on there to make sure it has a nice clicky button press. Once that's on, I put the audio board back in here. You'll see that I have a little orange thing sticking out of the side of the computer. It's a standard headphone. I just use that to make sure it's aligned. Once that's all aligned, I realized that I had to go back over and put the fan on and then realign it again, because I got a little ahead of myself going through this repair. But the fan goes on, then the audio board, then the system board. It's going pretty fast. This is it took a lot longer than this video shows, but it's a really cool repair to be able to move everything over. The keyboard on this one was missing some keys, and it was something that you have to move the whole board for, because the keyboard is attached to the board. So everything is moved over. I start to put all the shims back on, put all of the cables back into place, make sure everything's fitting properly. And once all of the cowlings are put on, I clean off the bottom case inside and out. Then I realize there's a battery press. So I have to put the battery on here, put a cover over it, press the battery down for a while to make sure the battery stays sticky. Once I was done with that, I put the bottom case back on. And after this, there's just a little bit of post-repair testing, but like any good repair technician does, now it's cleanup. Couldn't leave all that stuff left on the desk because I do have another few technicians with me, and all of the parts that we take out, they actually go back to Apple. So you see me box it up, send it back to Apple, and that's that. That's going to be a wrap for this one, folks. If you're an OWL and you're in need of a tech repair, please be sure to check out the service tab on shop.OWLtech.com. That's where you can book a free 20-minute diagnostic reservation and find specific up-to-date information about what type of repair services we offer. Thanks for watching. OWLtech out.